Hello, Starseeds. This is a timeless reading of yours. Please bear in mind a few details while we get ready for your reading. I am Master 7th, aka 7th, that reads these energies for you. Should you want to know who she is, what she's all about, and what I have to offer, there are details in the description box below. There are the various links in the description box to help you navigate this channel and gain access to my sister channel. Both channels have timeless content for your viewing pleasures, and remember, this is not a one-to-one reading. However, this is a general collective insight. Use your discernment to take everything that belongs to you and leave the rest behind. Tag hear it. I'm getting some nostalgia of like elementary school times. Alright, Starseeds. Let's get into your reading. Alright, Starseeds. As I said it so many times now. Empress energy. What does the term Starseeds mean? You're going to have to answer that in the question that you stated perhaps for yourself while clicking onto this reading. What is a starseed? What are the labels? What's the term? And the beginning journey, more or less, will always be denial. Whether that's your own or the audience that you're trying to communicate with because you think you can trust them. It will come a point where you can have the same thought, yet your body is no longer triggered to remind you it's in fear for having that thought. And it doesn't mean that you change, and it doesn't mean time heals all wounds, for it doesn't always heal all wounds. But what can lessen is the body forcing its language with you, saying that it is either in a state of wellness or in a state of fragility. It's the body's responsibility to react as much as it is your responsibility to feed the body that is responsible to communicate with you. So it's not about having a definitive definition of what Starseeds is, 333. It doesn't care to also understand or more or less separate itself or segregate itself from the difference of maybe it also is ancestral. And then when you think of your ancestors and you think of your culture and you're like, I wasn't raised with my culture, we're not necessarily just talking about the ancestors that are coming from the DNA of what you may or may not know of yourself. We have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of ancestors from pretty much just one side. You multiply that times 2. So it's quantum magic. Quantum magic is pretty much the definition of everything. You don't have to worry so much about having to explain everything unless you're curious to understand how it operates. Like how your body is curious within itself and how it's going to operate for you. And how you, the internal woodworker of that body, is responsible to make that decision for itself for the body to operate for the favor of you. It can happen that it can function without you knowing that there is quantum magic of that knowledge. The definition of everything is quantum magic. And then what are you going to say beats quantum magic? Not color blue. Not the almighty. All right. Some interesting energies here. Empress and a Death card. Okay, so what you may have thought to know, what you may have thought makes you shine the way you do and be successful, may have robbed you in one way or another. And I mean, this could come out in however you may feel robbed. That's a long blank because you can fill that in for however you want to. The throat chakra is acting up. The more you either talk about it, you might talk yourself into getting a flu. And then you might be on the other end where if you don't talk about it, you might catch yourself getting the flu. What is the atmosphere? Is that the atmosphere itself is quantum magic. So to feel the penalty of not being pure is pretty much in this particles of smell and the particles of air, and no longer in the particles of what you consume and what you eat. Think about the longest side effect that was the biggest symptom for wouldn't want to say it would sound anything like and then like have any kind of vid to it, you know. But that you couldn't taste and smell was a lot of people's symptoms. I knew somebody that was a customer where I was working was still dealing with it for like a year after. And you know, the saddest part about that journey is that when you do acclaim to yourself to understanding your viewpoint of what your intuition is saying, it's on a journey to understand for itself, and using Starseed to nudge you in that direction, is that you may understand that what you have to give is, in layman's term, healing energy, because it's something that someone may really want to come back to you for every time. Like maybe getting a cup of coffee with you every morning is something that brightens this person's day, and you look forward to doing that the night before every morning with you. Small measurements of how your presence, the thought of thinking of you, is healing for an individual's momentary need to make that request to be near you, has been overwhelmed by majority of the individuals who more or less are contingent to understand their nudging that they need to go towards understanding star seeds, yet they've been robbed by not understanding when so much of their energy has been taken. And it's not that they're incapable of producing more energy, is that they don't know when they're in low energy and have to replenish, because that's a modality that you may use to replenish other people, and then forget that you need to replenish it for yourself, so that way you can, you know, regenerize. And when you become more or less pure with the thought that you can fully control the deliverance of your light, is to know what shadows that light comes from. Because that's where you're going to be very unique than anyone else. The way you emote, the way you get angry, how you keep something hidden, how you move, how you don't say anything, how you do say anything, how you think, what happens with your eyes open and your mouth shut, and what happens with your eyes closed and your mouth open, whatever happens with your eyes shut and your mouth closed is very unique to you and only you, and that of which can listen to the energies of you, which is not going to be the individual nearest you. It is going to be the energy furthest away from you, because between you and them are less distractions. Yet, if you have your distractions, your priority is going to be dealing with that world. And if that world is not responsible to feed you your re-energized self, you're going to forget that you have to replenish. And then that's when maybe you enter this type of reading and like, what does it mean to be a starseed? What does she even imply? Or you know the information already and you bring your discernment along with it. Yeah, what is occurring is a need to understand that the particles in the air are moving at a faster speed than maybe human consciousness could wrap their intellectual minds around and even accept. There's a lot of changes that has happened in the regular 24-hour day, no matter where you are on Earth, where a lot of things have changed. And even if it's just a little bit of a change within a second's time, a minute's time, an hour's time, or a quarter of a day's time, that is massive change for species and Mother Earth to know that Mother Earth has shifted. And then everything else that comes with Mother Earth is now shifting along with it. All right, now. All right. The Sun and the Four of Pentacles. So you've been more or less been heeding to answer a call since hindsight 2020. And you are literally remaining in your lane. And that is the way to go. Okay. Remain in thy lane. That's it. That's it. That's all you can do. All right. We're not taking this whole deck, but Ace of Swords is a good beginning to you knowing the truth of the situation. All right. Without needing, you do not need to understand facts. Facts have been tossed around like TV channels and radio stations. Like, you can just go through them like it's nobody's business. But the fact that I use fact to state a fact is funny. 1 for 1. However, let me try to word it differently. There are too many circumstances where individuals use the material world and to capitulate a degree of value and say, because it is now either signed or written or contracted, that it is a holiness to it that shouldn't be shouldn't be questioned. Let's put it that way. Okay? Yet there are plenty of times when you have stacks of so-called data that are all capitulating again and a great degree of evidence. Yet now all evidence is fact. And not everything is of value, because you can keep that in court, right? You can have that in a court appeal of some kind, where record companies, entertainment industry, Hollywood, like contracts, phone contracts, bill contracts, whatever kind of contracts. And then you have something that really gets the gears going of interest, which is love, which is then about, either getting married because you need some citizenship within that country, or you get married out of love. Now, where you are dancing in the pendulum of what example you know the most also doesn't really bear weight of what is the fact. Yet the fact is that both are means of the same end goal, and those same end goal have very different emotions, so then it becomes confusing. It just becomes confusing. What do you do with that? What do you do with, there's people who are married and don't love each other. There's people who get married and out of convenience, out of necessity. This person creates a song and is innocent and so happy and an owner of something, and because of a mishap of not understanding exactly a word or two within some context of a paragraph, signs their name, and now potentially has no idea what it actually has done to itself. Which is so strange in an era where now, since quote unquote 2020, you could just tap everything. You don't even need a signature anymore. We came from, you needed a signature, and you have to like cross out and tear your signature and make sure it's thrown away in the trash so that no one can really like get your identity, to just boop, boop, boop. And that can be overwhelming here, Nine of Swords, of reality at the end of the day, at the bottom of the deck. It can be daunting for life to move forward in a thinking mind, keeping up with all the monumental changes that are occurring to just within their lifespan, and all those lifespans that they're sharing this lifespan with. For someone who doesn't want to not stop thinking, or for someone who doesn't want to say, no, I don't want to feel anymore. I don't know how to compute anymore what it is that I'm feeling. I don't know whom to go to anymore. That's when you're filled to the brim with too much, and you can really go beside yourself at certain times. And that's when you really find out true colors of yourself and the true colors of the people around you. And even if it's, even if it's family, because they're the ones closest in the lifespan to teach you what the ultimate version of your high vibrational self ought to be. I hear that isolation from what you got into is the key to have made you, the listener to this reading, be very curious of your own intuition, because you would be out somewhere in, maybe even in the darkness, where the sensory gets heightened, right? We become more aware when there's sensory deprivation. When there's no more light, other senses come up. Maybe with COVID, you didn't have a sense of smell and taste or whatever, but maybe you had something else. Anyway, I can go through so much right now. Because listen, sense of smell being lost by something like that is crazy. Like, crazy of potential, like, wise. Without using man-made materialistic medicine to lessen the pain. What I will say is that sense of smell is one of the most precious ways to remember your memory. Major lifetimes, like lifetime chapters. Like, you can smell something 30 years later that takes you to that exact time and spot 30 years previously. That's how strong the sense of smell is. And for something to have been in the atmosphere to kind of rob us from our own Akashic records some way or another, it's fascinating for me to kind of like capitulate it as a lens of like kaleidoscope of possibilities of like, damn, the universe is brilliant in making sure that humans understand they can play however they want to in their recess form of imagination, yet I'm the true master of how this galaxy is run. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And the more you have an aerial view of understanding and bring it home to where you are in a present moment, not related to past, present, and future, you have a better understanding why so many emotions come to the surface and saying we're no longer going to allow this shit to be just hidden under the rug and talked about it like this. We're no longer masking ourselves up. A lot of you who still do, and yeah, you're not liked that you do have that mask on. All right, the Knight of Wands. You're facing all these energies. There's nothing going away with these energies. 23. All right, there's nothing in the atmosphere where you can go inner or outer and escape galactic consequences. The only thing that you have is you, and that is a beautiful thing for you to be, is you. You are a very necessary access point. You are a very necessary vibration. There's a lot that you give, even when you think you have nothing to give. There's a lot of impact that you do, because it's not about the impact from the immediate circle around you. For that's your life experience. It's the impact that all those variables around you take from you and lead their way, that all trace back to you. Living ancestry. Strength. Yeah, I feel like where am I supposed to go? What am I I see so much. I see too much, yo. I see too much. This is the viewpoint of someone out there listening. They're in the headlights. Like, and you're like in a calm state, yet you're like, hmm. I think to entertain that look of like, whoa, is to listen to some like house music, deep house music. Okay, no words. Try not to have there be any words. But there's too much activity happening in terms of color that the brain can't make sense with language. So it's causing the body to react, and at the same time, the universe is fucking magic, okay? She will stop like this the moment you think you need to go to an expert and have them put you under some MRI scanner, CAT scanner, all that shit. The universe is an expert. She will rob you of that opportunity. Or she might just keep it interesting. Okay? So, never say no to the things that you want to go towards. Okay? If you need to go to someone, by all means, go to the resources you have available to in order to get the assistance that you need. But I'm just letting you know that the universe is very clever. Very clever. So it might just be a medical mystery and all of a sudden gone. Or boop boop. Hello, remember me? Like, she weird that way. Okay? I was like bringing this up. As Many Lives, As Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss is a book that I accidentally got across 2017, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And then when I happened to come across my master healer, another student asked her about a book if she has any suggestions of any books that she would recommend in regards to learning about intuition and learning about the point of Reiki and stuff like that. She's like, that's not what Reiki is. Reiki isn't about getting your teachings from a book. However, she did mention As Many Lives, As Many Masters, and I was very proud of myself that she brought that up, because I was like, I read that book. So check it out. Starseeds. If you want. Fuck that, I don't even gotta say that. Alright, King of Pentacles. So, it's the way the world works when your eyes are closed. And when you formulate a better relationship with that through groundedness and not the measurements of like zzz. That's not the point. Normal is just as fucking perfect. We all have a challenging appeal to what we think normal is. But this, don't think that the moments to get to Zen require that. Because anyone that tells you that is a liar. I never got into any kind of pretzel pose because I don't know, I can't. My limbs can't, can't really do the pretzel pose and go, So then I definitely I thought I was like screwed, because I'm like, if I can't even sit in a position, I'm fucked. I'm not zenned out. I'm never gonna get grounded. I did none of that, and I still got my Kundalini. My solar return did happen. How did I feel normal in order to get that? No. So it's not the goal to tell you that you are normal. And then maybe you also thinking that normal you don't really like, because I mean, you see normal and people are like, no offense peeps, but someone's in the noggin, they're not really thinking. So I'm not talking about the normal sleeping fellas. I'm talking about you being a living, breathing flesh. And doing the very basics of just keeping that flesh functioning is a great place to start owning up, getting some fucking groundedness and some Zen work done. And you can have as million excuses as you want, but all those excuses are existent because of that same foundation. So you might as well organize all those excuses, and then you've met the reason why there can be no excuse. All right, one more card. Nine of Pentacles, beautiful energy to end with, because it's the magic of the 369 of who you are, to make you become aware that there's magical things that you are feeling. And no matter how tragic anything feels like it's ending, it's a resurrection that you more or less were contingent on to already have seen coming, because you protected that which you can, and in doing so you understood what you were secretly doing in the name of it, to be able to protect the moon energy for yourself, while also forcing narratives to come out from the underworld and expose themselves. You bringing logic and reason to that by remaining grounded as best as you can. Your own inner Zen by understanding the atmospheric changes through being a human being. And that human being is independent and structured, grounded, on a quest to always improve. Alright, that's all that I have for you at this time. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing.